What's up, guys? This is Teresa Yanaros. Welcome to my channel. Go on down there, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell, all the things, and jump down in the comments and say hi. Tell us where you're from. So in this video, I actually wanted to cover something that I came across today. I published a video today on spiritual warfare, and I had a subscriber jump into the comment section and share something pretty heavy, and I wanted to take this time to create this video because I feel like it's really important. So hang with me, because this is a really important comment and I want to do this justice. So thank you, Paul, for chiming in and sharing and feeling like you can, because I always do my due diligence, or try to create a safe space where we can really share how we truly feel and there's no judgment at all. Okay, so Paul says, this is so weird. I was just thinking about you yesterday, not to sound creepy or anything. I followed you for 3 or 4 years now, and I don't know why really. We have nothing in common, really. It's just so weird. I wake up and see a YouTube notification from you the day after I thought about what you might be up to. Happens to me all the time. I'll think of a song and it comes on later that day or something, you know? Yep, I definitely do. Anyway, I prefer knowledge and certainty, and I only feel better when I feel like I know what is up and how to defend myself. Otherwise, I just feel powerless. My parents died last year, and I really hate God. I'm so sick of this ridiculous planet and the monkeys that live on it. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and I hated every minute of it. Then there were several years of AA, which I also hated. I can't stand religion or cults. I don't care what God wants. I care what I want, and that is that. I believe in free will and the power of knowledge, and I don't need or want anything to do with God. I need wealth and power. A little revenge would be nice too. If God is unhappy with me, he should just kill me and get it over with. Instead, I have multiple near-death experiences and scars on top of scars. I just get crazier as time goes on, it seems, which is apropos because I live on an insane planet that's designed to make you go crazy. So I really don't understand why you and I have a connection at all. We are opposite, I would say. For some reason, I just really like you, like a sister or something, even though you drive me nuts. You don't have to worry about me, though. You may think me evil. We will never meet, and I have no interest in relationships with anyone. I prefer the pain of being alone to the pain of being with someone. I believe in apotheosis through alchemical interpersonal work and solitude. Here's a favorite movie clip of mine to help explain my position. Oh, I'm working on free decentralized electrical energy to go with our decentralized monetary energy, Bitcoin, in order to make the world a slightly better place as we enter the grand solar minimum and coronal mass ejection epoch. I've noticed when people aren't suffering, they're much nicer to one another. I like when people are nice and not being shafted by the central banks and the government. We all just behave better when things are good. Unfortunately, we don't live on that world, but maybe we can make it that way for our descendants. I'll probably go to hell and you'll be in heaven because you are good. I'm not so much. Just disregard my crazy comment and don't let anything I ever say upset you. I might come back and delete it. I don't know. And then he left a link to Ad Astra's opening scene. Okay, so I responded. First of all, Paul, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts. And then I responded, hi, Paul, thank you for being here and for sharing with me. I love your honesty. I agree with much of your exasperation about being on this planet that just really doesn't seem to make sense. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're here. I don't think you're evil and somehow I'm good. Honestly, I believe we're on the same level in that sense. I don't think getting to heaven has to do with the nature of us being good or evil. It's more about the status of our hearts and the surrender of our lives to something greater. I love what you said about alchemical interpersonal work and even about solitude. Different people are called into different things, in my opinion. Some people are more inclined for solitude and some prefer more community. But all that aside, I think the alchemical process is the point. I think that goal is the core of what we yearn for deep inside our hearts. I like to consider myself an alchemist as well. Maybe our spirits connect on that level, and that's why you're here, even though I'm exhausting and annoying most of the time. Haha. Anyway, thank you for your errant thoughts, and I hope you continue to share them here. A deeper level, I think it's God who is the activator of the alchemical process, although people might identify that as something else. The God that people tend to hate is an archetype that is not actually God, but a caricature that holds our existential frustration and feelings of universal abandonment. In my experience, the actual capital G God is the one who delivers and transforms and inspires that alchemical process. Just my 2 cents. Much love, my brother. Okay. Paul responded back, you're so awesome. Thanks for putting up with me and taking the time to reply. Time is our most precious resource, and I value hearing you talk about your journey. I think you showed me today that maybe it's all the false gods I'm really mad at and not God at all. I don't know. I'm a mess these days, that's for sure. I guess I feel irredeemable and am jealous of people who have faith. That, and I miss my parents. I'll keep, I could not get through this without crying today, so I'm trying to do it and get through it today without crying. I'll keep tuning into your channel. I like your style and feel I'm supposed to learn something important from you, though I don't pretend to understand it. So this is a very powerful exchange. If you guys want to read it, go to my video, Spiritual Warfare, Faith is the Substance, and you can see it and you can read through it again. So I just wanted to kind of take a moment to, now that I've read it, take a step back and kind of go through a little bit more of my feelings on this. So you said, I prefer knowledge and certainty, and I only feel better when I feel like I know what is up and how to defend myself. Otherwise, I just feel powerless. I feel you. I think a lot of us do. I think most of us do. I think most people feel like we're getting thrown to and fro in this world. And so I think there's a level of that. And I'm so sorry about your parents. You know, I understand how you should, I mean, you're feeling very, very angry. Absolutely. It's like we go through things on this planet that are so confusing because we feel like we just don't have control. You know, when it comes to life and death, and it comes to just everything that we're living, especially now in the last few years, like it can feel like so much powerlessness that it just makes you feel like you want to crumble at it. I understand you were raised Jehovah's Witness and you hated it, and you can't stand religion or cults. I was actually raised Catholic, and I became so angry at religion in college that I literally took a catechism and I threw it at the wall and I swore off religion altogether. And I thought, okay, I'm over any kind of authoritarian control structure that is going to seek to take away my sovereignty. And that was my stance until I realized that, and this just happened in the last few years, but I realized that what I was listening to about God, I was listening to lies about God. And I think it's fascinating that you and I had this conversation, because when I brought up, you know, I think that a lot of a lot of people will characterize God in a way that it's kind of easy to hate. Someone that could, or a being that could cause all this suffering in your life, you know? And so anyway, I think it's interesting to consider that, like, we can sort of create this idea of who we think God is and then rage at it. And when I started to, so when I was delivered from the lowest point of my life, it was supernatural deliverance. It was not anything I did. And this is, I want to bring this up because you said, let me find it. You feel irredeemable. That's the thing. Every single person on this planet, like, we're all irredeemable in the sense of, like, we don't deserve God's grace. We're fallen, we're broken, and we are prone to sin. And I know that you were raised Jehovah's Witness, and you know the spiel and you know the shtick, and it's like, whatever. I'm not here to preach anything to you. I'm just going to tell you, like, what I went through. And what happened to me was, you know, I was agnostic. And I mean, I was a tarot reader. I was a very successful tarot reader, and I was a new age author, and I was like traveling around giving presentations and talking about truth seeking. How ironic is that? But the crux of it was that I discovered the core of the evil on the planet. I looked it in the face. And I feel like you and I can definitely relate on this, because from what I was reading of your message, you see a lot of the darkness. You're aware of the darkness. In fact, you feel so aware of it that you feel like you are it, and that it makes you irredeemable. And that's how I felt. I caved. I crumbled. And I probably would have died had it not been God calling my name out of that pit and literally removing me from it. And I will tell you the moment it happened, and I'll tell you why. I let go. In that moment, I looked Satan in the face. I saw everything on this planet engulf me. And I felt so far away from God because of the things that I had done, the things that I believed, the things that I had chosen, the path that I had walked. I felt like I was stained by it. And I felt like I was totally lost. I felt literally like I was in outer space, I remember at this moment. And I felt like I wanted to jump out of my skin because I knew that it was because of me and the dirt inside me. I felt like there was no coming back and that I was lost. And it was at that moment, from the bottom of that well out in outer space, that I called out to God. And I was in the fetal position of my bed. I had been crying fetal position for weeks at this point. It was in the middle of, I had demonic oppression going on. I was having like nightmares about demons, waking up with bruises on my body. They were manifesting physically in front of me. I was deeply involved in the occult. Anyway, God called me home, and it took time. It was a process. And all I know was that God stepped into my life. The presence of God stepped into my life. And I realized that I had been turning my back on him for a long time. And it was then that I started to learn about God's actual character. And I started to learn about his promises. And I knew that I needed to come under his protection. That's all I knew. And I knew that he was fighting for me. I just kept getting in my head over and over, I'm taking this on. God's saying, like, I'm fighting these battles. I'm fighting this battle for you. I'm fighting this battle. Like, just hang on, just hang on. And in this time, it was the worst time in my life. There was so much awful stuff happening. I can't even begin to describe it. And if you've been following me for a few years, then you probably know some of this. But I just want you to know that you're not alone. And I'm here for you. Everyone in this community, we're here for you. I'm so sorry about you losing your parents. And I'm so sorry that you are feeling this low. I relate, and I know how low can get. And I think that is part of the human experience. So I just want you to know that I take it seriously what you're saying here. And I'm praying that you will find solace. I'm praying that God will show you grace, and God will show you what that looks like. And I pray that your heart will soften to that, to learn who the true God is, because I promise you that God is not a harmful God at all. Anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it there. But I'm open to any thoughts that you might have. I'm open to any thoughts that anybody might have. I'm just gonna leave this open dialogue because I know that a lot of us are going through a lot of hard stuff right now, and a lot of people are losing family members. And so I just want you to know that my own process of deliverance was a very long process. It was arduous, and it was only maybe 6 months in to that process of God delivering me, breaking down these demonic strongholds in my mind, just taking the lies away. It took time to install truth and install newness of being. It doesn't happen overnight. And then it was about 6 months into this process that God started telling me to pray for Jesus to come in my life. And what's interesting is that I never, I was raised Catholic, but I never really got, I intellectually understood the idea of Jesus dying for our sins, but I didn't really understand it in my heart. It didn't really hit me. Didn't really get it. And, whenever I was going through that process of deliverance, I was just like, is this really what's about to happen? Am I praying for Jesus to come into my life? How crazy is this? I never would have thought that this would be something I would do. Because I was agnostic. I believed in God, but I Jesus was not, in my life. I did not have a personal relationship with Christ. And what was really interesting was that I learned it was always Jesus. It was always Jesus. That was always the answer. And when it comes to demonic oppression, possession, vexation, the evil powers of darkness in this world, Jesus is the only force that delivers from all of that. And I am a living testament of that, which blows my mind every day. And when I finally when Jesus came into my life, it was like I weighed 5 million pounds, and then Jesus came into my life, and it was like it got really quiet, and I started to see, and everything became so simple and clear. And I mean, when it happened, I remember falling on my face. I was, out in the country, and it hit me. And finally, for the first time in my life, the concept of Jesus, the real, true God, hit my heart. It changed me. And the reality is, God became man and broke the chains of evil in this world. Forgot to mention one thing. You were talking about being irredeemable. The idea is that we don't deserve to be redeemed, but God redeemed us anyway. That's what grace is. That's why it's so powerful. That's why it's so transformational, is because we don't deserve it. Also, the idea of feeling jealous of people who have faith. You were born with an intrinsic desire to seek God. You have that. Every single person has that. I would strongly encourage you, when you're feeling jealous of other people who have faith, I want you to think of this like that feeling is actually God calling you to him. And I started looking at it like this recently, and it has changed my life. When I start to feel alone, and I start to feel pain, deep, deep pain, brokenness, abandonment, I take that feeling and I tell myself, that feeling right there is God calling me to him. When you change your thinking like this and you decide to think about it this way, I promise you, it will draw you closer to God. When you start thinking, well, why do they have this and I don't? That feeling of lack, that feeling of sadness, despair, that right there, that hole inside you, that right there can only be filled by God. That is literally God saying, I want to spend time with you. I want to be with you. I want to be with you, Paul. I want to spend that precious time with you. There are things on this planet, nothing on this planet can fill a God-sized hole in our heart. All of us have that. And we try so hard to put other things inside of that hole, and they don't fit. And that's why we are consistently feeling let down by fill in the blank. Anyway, this is the way that I look at it. I'm interested in your thoughts on this. I'm going to drop this in the video. And we are living in this time of imperfection now, where we see in a mirror dimly. We're living in this shadow, where true reality is veiled, and we get closer to God in this time of imperfection the more we surrender and lean into that reality that God is taking care of the overall mission here. And then it allows us to kind of focus on the now and building what we're actually supposed to be building in this short time that we have on this planet. And I think that, you know, when you're depressed or you're feeling like angry existentially, it can block you off from really being able to see clearly into what it is that God's calling you to do, and in this empowering way. Anyway, those are just some of my errant thoughts. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for watching this video. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Again, this is Teresa. This is my channel. Thank you for watching. Go on down there, hit subscribe if you like this kind of content. Give me a like and leave me a comment. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.